Have you ever met someone who is always too nice? The kind of person who smiles at everyone, agrees with everything, never raises their voice, never says no, and seems almost impossibly polite. You think to yourself, wow, this person is genuinely kind. You feel comfortable around them. You feel safe. You trust them instantly. But have you ever noticed that sometimes, after a while, being around them feels exhausting? Even though they are pleasant, there's something you can't put your finger on, a sense that the politeness is too perfect, too smooth, that behind the smile, something is hidden. Psychology calls this overcompensation, and it is more common than you think. It is a survival mechanism that many of us unknowingly develop. It is what separates kindness from niceness, and it shapes lives in ways most people never realize. Being nice has a strong social reward. From a very early age, people learn that being agreeable is safe. Children who smile, who follow rules, who avoid conflict are praised, given love, or rewarded. Children who speak up, who challenge authority, who express anger, often face punishment, criticism, or emotional distance. The brain adapts to this environment. It learns that survival is linked to being agreeable. Saying no feels dangerous. Expressing frustration feels unsafe. As the years pass, this coping mechanism becomes automatic. Politeness becomes not just a behavior, but a part of their identity. The brain, trained over years, does not even recognize that sometimes it is hiding fear, not kindness. If you look closely, you can notice patterns. Someone who is always nice might agree with everything you say, even when you know deep down they might have a different opinion. They apologize constantly, even when they're not at fault. They avoid confrontation at all costs. They prioritize everyone else's comfort over their own. At first, it seems selfless. At first, it seems admirable. But psychology tells a different story. This is not always kindness. It is often fear disguised as niceness. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being disliked, fear of losing relationships, fear of being alone, fear that their value is measured not by who they are, but by how much they please others. Many of these individuals never learned how to set boundaries. They may not even recognize their own desires or needs. Their lives become a cycle of acquiescence, a yes here, a yes there, a compromise here, a sacrifice there. They learn to navigate the world quietly, invisibly, like someone tiptoeing on eggshells. And while the world perceives them as safe, pleasant, and reliable, the inner reality is often very different. There is tension, there is frustration, there is suppressed anger, there is sadness, and there's an underlying sense of being unseen. Some people call them people pleasers, but that term barely scratches the surface. The psychology behind being overly nice is rooted in early childhood experiences, social conditioning, and emotional survival strategies. In some cases, people were conditioned from childhood to believe that love and acceptance are conditional. They were rewarded for compliance and punished for rebellion. They grew up in homes where expressing anger, disagreement, or authentic emotion was unsafe. For these individuals, niceness is a protective shield, a mask that allows them to navigate relationships without fear of conflict or rejection. But this mask comes with a cost, because what happens when someone is always polite, always agreeable, and never expresses their true thoughts? Emotions that are not expressed do not disappear. They accumulate in the subconscious. Each suppressed feeling, whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, or disappointment, creates tension. Over time, this tension builds like steam in a pressure cooker. And just like a pressure cooker, if the emotional pressure is not released, it can explode. Passive-aggressive behavior, sudden outbursts of anger, anxiety, and depression are often the hidden consequences of a lifetime of unexpressed feelings. And yet, society rarely teaches people how to release this tension healthily. Instead, we reward politeness, agreeableness, and pleasantness. The world does not ask the nice person, "Are you okay? Are you expressing yourself authentically?" It only notices when they break the rules or step out of line. Until that moment,
The nice person continues to perform their role, agreeable, polite, and pleasing. It becomes a cycle. Niceness is praised, compliance is rewarded. The mask becomes permanent, and the individual may even begin to believe that the mask is who they truly are. But why do some people take this to an extreme? Why do some individuals never step out of their nice persona even when it harms them? Psychology points to a combination of high sensitivity, fear of judgment, and perfectionism. Many people who are overly nice have an acute awareness of social cues. They notice how others react to every word, every tone, every expression. Their brains are wired to anticipate conflict, discomfort, and rejection, and so they overcompensate. They smooth every rough edge, soften every criticism, and adopt politeness as a permanent armor. At the same time, perfectionism often fuels this behavior. The nice person wants to appear flawless in social interactions. They fear making mistakes, disappointing others, or revealing flaws. Niceness becomes not just a habit, but a meticulously crafted strategy. The smile, the agreement, the politeness, they are calculated. It's subtle, often invisible, and yet psychologically powerful. It can influence how people perceive them, how people trust them, and how people interact with them. But here's the paradox. The more someone focuses on pleasing others, the more disconnected they become from their authentic self. Their needs, desires, and emotions are pushed aside. They may achieve external approval, but internally they feel invisible. This internal conflict often manifests in subtle ways: anxiety, tension headaches, restlessness, irritability, or difficulty making decisions. Sometimes they may feel a vague emptiness, as if life is passing by while they perform the role society expects. Interestingly, being overly nice also affects relationships. Partners, friends, and colleagues may initially appreciate the pleasantness, but over time, they may sense something missing. There is no assertiveness, no confrontation, no authenticity. This can lead to subtle resentment, miscommunication, and unfulfilled expectations. People around them may unconsciously take advantage of the nice person's compliance, not realizing that beneath the surface there is a complex emotional landscape. Understanding this psychology is crucial, not to judge, but to recognize patterns, to identify where fear masquerades as kindness, to understand how early experiences shape adult behavior, and perhaps most importantly, to begin the process of self-reflection. Because some of us watching this may recognize the patterns in ourselves. We may realize that we say yes too often, hide our opinions, and suppress our emotions to avoid conflict. Recognizing the pattern is the first step towards change. Over the next segments of this video, we will explore the deeper roots of this behavior, how childhood experiences shape lifelong habits, the emotional consequences of constant niceness, and strategies for both understanding and navigating relationships with overly nice people. We will uncover the hidden dynamics, the psychological science, and the practical insights that can help anyone, whether you're the nice person or the one interacting with them, understand this complex human behavior. By the end of this video, you will not only recognize the hidden truth behind niceness, but you will also gain tools to navigate relationships more authentically, and perhaps even discover a pathway to freeing yourself from fear-driven behavior. This journey is emotional, deep, and eye-opening, and it all starts with that simple question: why are some people always nice? Have you ever wondered why some people are so desperate to please others that they never say no, never complain, never assert themselves? The answer often lies in childhood. From the very first moments of our lives, our brains are learning how the world works, how relationships function, and how survival depends on behavior. For many people who grow up to be always nice, their brains learned early on that being agreeable is the safest way to exist. Imagine a child who expresses anger or disagreement at home. Maybe they get scolded, punished, or ignored. Maybe they're told, "Don't be difficult," or "Why can't you be more like your sister?" In such moments, the brain experiences a subtle but powerful association. Conflict equals danger. Disagreement equals loss. Honesty equals risk. Over time, the child internalizes a simple rule. The safest way to live is to be polite, agreeable, and quiet. This rule becomes a subconscious guide for almost every interaction in the future. Many psychologists describe this as fear-based conditioning. The fear is not always dramatic. It's subtle, constant, almost invisible. A quiet anxiety forms in the background of the mind, shaping behavior without conscious awareness. This fear leads to what we call the nice mask, a mask that smiles, agrees, and pleases, while the true thoughts, desires, and emotions are tucked away, hidden in the shadows. As these children grow into teenagers, the pattern strengthens. Social environments like school and friendships often reward compliance.
It is important to understand that this behavior is not inherently malicious. In fact, most overly nice people are driven by empathy. They care deeply about others, and their intentions are often genuine. But empathy alone does not explain the extreme avoidance of conflict. The key factor is fear of rejection and fear of disapproval. The overly nice person equates disagreement with danger. Saying no, expressing anger, or asserting personal boundaries feels threatening. In their mind, the cost of being honest may be too high, so they choose compliance instead. To illustrate this, consider a real-life scenario. Imagine a man named Daniel, who grew up in a household where his parents only showed love when he followed the rules. As a child, he learned that speaking up for himself or expressing disagreement led to anger, punishment, or emotional distance. By the time Daniel became an adult, he had perfected the art of agreeing, pleasing, and hiding his true feelings. In relationships, at work, and even with friends, Daniel rarely said no. He took on more responsibilities than he could handle, avoided confrontation at all costs, and constantly monitored how others perceived him. On the outside, Daniel seemed dependable, kind, and generous. On the inside, he was exhausted, anxious, and frustrated, often feeling invisible and unheard. This story is not unique. Many people you know, or even you yourself, may share similar patterns. The psychology is universal. The combination of childhood conditioning, social reinforcement, and fear of rejection creates a personality that prioritizes others' comfort over personal truth. The individual may appear confident and pleasant to outsiders, but internally, they struggle with unresolved emotions, suppressed desires, and constant anxiety. Niceness can also be self-reinforcing. Every time the person pleases someone, avoids conflict, or agrees unnecessarily, the brain receives a small reward. Approval, validation, and a sense of temporary safety act as positive reinforcement. Over decades, this creates a strong neural pathway. The brain begins to operate almost automatically. Whenever there's a choice, the nice behavior is chosen, regardless of personal cost. It becomes habitual. Niceness is no longer a choice. It is a deeply ingrained pattern. Another important factor is high sensitivity. Many overly nice individuals are naturally sensitive to social cues. They notice subtle changes in tone, facial expression, or body language, often before anyone else does. This heightened awareness can be a gift when balanced with assertiveness, but in the case of fear-driven niceness, it intensifies the avoidance of conflict. The overly nice person anticipates disapproval before it even occurs, adjusting behavior preemptively to avoid any potential threat. You might be wondering, can this pattern change? The answer is yes, but it requires awareness and conscious effort. Overly nice individuals must acknowledge that their niceness is often fear-driven rather than purely kind. They must explore their emotions, learn to identify suppressed anger, frustration, and desires, and practice expressing themselves authentically. This does not mean becoming aggressive or rude. It means finding a balance between kindness and honesty, empathy and self-respect. Psychologists often recommend practical steps to break the cycle.
Simple actions like saying no in small situations, expressing an honest opinion in a safe context, or setting minor boundaries can begin to retrain the brain. Over time, these small acts of authenticity reduce anxiety, build confidence, and help the individual reconnect with their true self. In relationships, understanding this pattern can also prevent misunderstandings. Partners and friends may misinterpret excessive niceness as weakness, passivity, or even manipulation. Recognizing the underlying fear helps others respond with empathy and patience. It also helps prevent burnout for the overly nice person, as their needs and emotions are acknowledged rather than ignored. The psychology of always nice behavior is complex, nuanced, and deeply human. It is not merely a matter of choice, it is the product of decades of conditioning, fear responses, social reinforcement, and heightened sensitivity. It affects emotional health, relationship dynamics, and even career success. The more you understand this behavior, the more you can navigate your interactions wisely, whether you are the person displaying these patterns or interacting with someone who is. Even though someone appears outwardly calm, polite, and pleasant, the inner world of an overly nice person is often stormy. Beneath the smiles, the constant agreements, the polite gestures, lies a tension that builds quietly but relentlessly. Emotions that are never expressed do not simply vanish, they accumulate, layer upon layer, creating what psychologists call emotional residue. Imagine a river blocked by rocks. The water continues to flow, but it is trapped, swirling, building pressure. The same happens inside the overly nice person. Every suppressed frustration, every unspoken desire, every moment of fear or sadness accumulates, creating invisible pressure that shapes thoughts, moods, and even physical health. Consider Emma, a woman who had always been nice her whole life. She would agree to every request from friends and family, avoid conflict at work, and say yes to situations she did not want. On the surface, she was the perfect colleague, the dependable friend, the loving daughter, but inside, she often felt invisible. She struggled with anxiety and self-doubt, wondering if anyone truly saw or appreciated her real self. Even small disagreements caused intense stress because her brain had learned that disagreement equaled danger. Emma's suppressed emotions occasionally leaked out in small ways: irritability, sudden tears, restless nights. Her body was signaling the tension that her mind tried to hide. The mental impact of being overly nice goes beyond simple stress. Studies in psychology show that chronic people-pleasing behavior can lead to anxiety disorders, depression, and low self-esteem. This happens because the brain constantly evaluates risk in social interactions. Each decision, whether to speak up, set a boundary, or say no, triggers subconscious calculations about potential rejection, anger, or disapproval. Over decades, the cumulative mental load can be immense. Decision-making becomes exhausting, emotional regulation becomes difficult, and the sense of personal identity can blur. But what exactly happens emotionally? One key concept is suppressed anger. Nice people often avoid expressing anger because they've been conditioned to believe that anger is dangerous, unacceptable, or socially costly. But anger is a natural and necessary emotion. It signals when boundaries are crossed, when needs are unmet, or when injustice occurs. When anger is suppressed for years, it transforms into passive forms: irritability, resentment, bitterness, or internal self-criticism. Over time, suppressed anger can even manifest physically in headaches, muscle tension, or digestive issues. Another hidden emotion is fear: fear of rejection, fear of disapproval, fear of conflict. This fear is often subconscious. The overly nice person may not even realize they are afraid. It shows up as hesitation, overthinking, and a constant need to anticipate others' reactions. Social interactions become a mental chess game. What will they say? Will they like me? Should I nod? Should I smile? Every choice feels critical. Every action is measured against potential consequences. It is mentally exhausting. Yet another hidden emotional struggle is sadness and emptiness. When a person consistently prioritizes others over themselves, their own desires and needs are neglected. Hobbies, passions, or dreams may be abandoned because they take too much time, or because pursuing them might upset someone else. Over years, this neglect can create an emptiness. Life feels like a series of compromises. The world sees the person as pleasant, kind, or agreeable, but internally there is a persistent void. The consequences also extend to relationships. Partners, friends, and colleagues often perceive the overly nice person as reliable and non-confrontational. Initially, this seems positive. People trust them, lean on them, and depend on them. But over time, the lack of authentic self-expression can create subtle tension. Friends may unconsciously take advantage, expecting constant compliance. Partners may misinterpret passivity as weakness or lack of interest. Communication suffers because the overly nice person avoids expressing dissatisfaction, leaving unspoken expectations and unmet needs. Psychology explains that overly nice behavior is essentially a coping mechanism. It's a way to navigate the world safely, to avoid rejection, to gain approval, and to maintain harmony. But coping mechanisms that protect in childhood often become limiting in adulthood. The brain, trained for decades to equate conflict with danger, struggles to adapt. The result is a paradox: external harmony paired with internal chaos.
Despite these challenges, there is a hidden strength in being overly nice. These individuals often possess extraordinary empathy, the ability to connect deeply with others, and a rare talent for smoothing social interactions. Their kindness can be genuine, their loyalty unwavering, and their patience remarkable. But the key is balance, the ability to retain empathy without losing oneself, to express kindness without suppressing personal truth, to maintain harmony without sacrificing emotional health. In Part 4, we will explore how niceness can sometimes become a subtle tool of control or manipulation, how social dynamics interact with these patterns, and why understanding these mechanisms is crucial for both self-growth and relationships. You will see how the psychology of niceness extends beyond individual behavior into group interactions, workplaces, and social circles. Have you ever noticed how some people are not just nice, but almost strategically nice? They smile, agree, and seem to anticipate what everyone wants all the time. On the surface, it looks like pure kindness, but psychology tells us something deeper is happening. Niceness can serve as a tool of influence, subtle control, and social navigation, sometimes consciously, often unconsciously. Let's start with the workplace. Imagine a colleague named Sarah. She always agrees in meetings, compliments others, volunteers for extra work, and never contradicts her boss. People love her. She seems dependable, agreeable, and cooperative. But what's really happening? By constantly being agreeable, Sarah shapes the perception of others. She gains trust, lowers resistance, and increases her social leverage. Without anyone realizing it, she influences decisions simply by making people feel safe, appreciated, and heard. Her niceness becomes a form of soft power. This is where the psychology becomes fascinating. Research in social dynamics shows that people are naturally drawn to those who are agreeable, empathetic, and non-confrontational. Overly nice individuals exploit, or rather benefit from, this natural tendency. Others may unconsciously comply with their requests, accept their ideas, or grant them favors because the brain associates niceness with safety and reliability. This is social conditioning at work. Humans are wired to prefer harmony, avoid conflict, and trust those who reduce tension. But there's a hidden cost. The overly nice person often pays an emotional price. By keeping their own desires and boundaries hidden, they may avoid immediate conflict, but internal frustration builds. They may subtly manipulate situations without overt aggression, but the mental strain is real.
Every act of strategic niceness is mentally calculated, consciously or subconsciously. The brain constantly evaluates, how will this action affect perception? Will this maintain harmony? Will this get me what I need without confrontation? Now let's examine this pattern in friendships and social circles. Imagine a person named Alex. In his friend group, Alex is the peacemaker, the listener, the one who always goes along with group decisions. He rarely complains, rarely asserts himself, and often sacrifices his own preferences. Others enjoy Alex's company. They trust him, rely on him, and often turn to him for emotional support. But here's the subtle truth. Alex gains influence without needing to dominate. By always being agreeable, he becomes a central figure in the group. His opinions, though rarely voiced, carry weight because he is seen as safe, dependable, and non-threatening. Psychology explains this using the principle of reciprocity and social approval. When someone consistently demonstrates niceness, empathy, and compliance, the brain of others associates them with trustworthiness and safety. This leads to unconscious compliance. People are more likely to accept their suggestions, agree with their ideas, or let them guide group decisions. The overly nice person, even unknowingly, becomes a quiet influencer. Interestingly, this pattern is also evident in family dynamics. Consider a sibling who is always agreeable, always avoiding conflict, and constantly helping others. Parents and siblings may unconsciously give them more responsibilities, rely on them more heavily, or grant them special attention. The nice sibling gains influence in decision-making, often without asserting it directly. Again, niceness serves as a social tool, providing subtle control and influence. However, the psychology of this behavior is double-edged. On one hand, niceness opens doors, builds trust, and creates influence. On the other hand, the overly nice person may feel trapped. The social leverage they gain comes at the cost of personal freedom and emotional authenticity. Every decision is measured against social expectations. Every word is filtered for potential impact. Over time, this leads to decision fatigue, burnout, and emotional depletion. Let's illustrate this with a story. Maya is a team leader in a corporate setting. She is known for being exceptionally nice, always polite, always accommodating, always empathetic. Her team loves her. But Maya often struggles with saying no. When colleagues ask for favors or extra work, she rarely declines, even if it conflicts with her own priorities. Her niceness gives her influence and respect, but internally she is overwhelmed. She experiences constant stress, chronic anxiety, and feelings of resentment. This internal tension highlights a crucial truth. Niceness as influence works, but it is emotionally costly if not balanced with self-assertion. Another psychological insight is the illusion of control. The overly nice person may feel that by pleasing everyone, they can control outcomes, prevent conflict, or maintain harmony. In reality, control is limited. People are unpredictable, circumstances change, and boundaries are tested. The attempt to control through niceness often results in frustration and confusion. The person may wonder, why doesn't everyone appreciate my efforts? Or why do conflicts still happen despite my attempts to avoid them? The answer is simple. Influence through niceness is subtle, but it is not absolute. In social psychology, this pattern is closely linked to the halo effect. When someone appears agreeable, empathetic, and polite, observers often assume other positive traits: competence, intelligence, trustworthiness. Overly nice individuals unconsciously benefit from this cognitive bias. People are more likely to listen to them, value their opinions, and follow their guidance. Again, the brain of the overly nice person is leveraging natural human tendencies to reduce conflict and gain influence. It's also important to understand why this pattern is reinforced over time. Positive feedback, praise, gratitude, trust, and affection strengthens the behavior. Negative feedback, conflict, confrontation, or criticism is avoided through niceness. The brain learns that agreeable behavior consistently yields rewards and minimizes perceived risks. Over years, niceness becomes not only a social strategy, but a core part of identity. However, imbalance has consequences. If the overly nice person suppresses their authentic self for decades, emotional tension grows. Hidden desires, unexpressed opinions, and long-suppressed frustrations accumulate. This internal pressure can lead to sudden emotional outbursts, passive-aggressive behavior, or even physical symptoms such as chronic stress, insomnia, or tension-related illnesses. The takeaway is clear. Niceness is a powerful tool in social life. It can foster influence, build trust, and create harmony. But when niceness is driven primarily by fear, avoidance, or over-adaptation, it can become a trap. True psychological growth comes from balancing kindness with authenticity, empathy with boundaries, and influence with self-respect. In the final part, Part 5, we will explore practical strategies for balancing niceness with authenticity, how to break the cycle of fear-driven people-pleasing, and how to leverage natural empathy without sacrificing personal well-being. We will also discuss real-life transformations of people who learned to be genuinely nice without losing themselves. So far, we have explored the hidden emotions, mental impact, and social influence of people who are always nice. Now it's time to focus on the most important part, how to retain kindness without losing yourself. How can someone be genuinely empathetic and agreeable without being trapped by fear, anxiety, or suppressed emotions? The first step is self-awareness. Understanding your own motivations, triggers, and patterns is crucial. Ask yourself questions like, why do I say yes when I want to say no? What am I afraid will happen if I assert myself? Am I helping others because I want to, or because I fear conflict? These questions may feel uncomfortable at first because they force you to confront fears you have been avoiding for years. But self-awareness is the foundation of personal transformation. Consider John, a man in his early 30s who had always been the nice guy at work. He rarely voiced his opinions, avoided confrontation, and often took on extra tasks to please others. Over time, he felt exhausted and resentful. John began a simple practice, writing down situations where he said yes but wanted to say no. He reflected on the emotions he felt in those moments. Slowly, he began to notice patterns: his fear of rejection, his desire for approval, and his habit of prioritizing others' comfort over his own needs. This awareness was the first step towards change. The second step is learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are not selfish.
Psychologists call this process assertive kindness. It is the art of being nice without losing yourself. You can maintain empathy, support, and understanding while clearly stating your needs. For example, instead of saying yes automatically, you might say, I understand this is important, but I need to focus on my own priorities right now. Can we schedule this for later? Notice the difference. The message is respectful, kind, and clear. You honor both yourself and others. Another powerful strategy is emotional expression. Overly nice people often suppress anger, sadness, or frustration, believing it is socially unacceptable. However, expressing emotions healthily is essential. Journaling, talking to trusted friends, or engaging in creative activities are effective ways to release pent-up feelings. The goal is not to lash out or manipulate, but to acknowledge and process emotions before they accumulate and cause stress. Mindfulness and meditation are also highly effective tools. They help the brain recognize automatic patterns of over-pleasing, reduce anxiety, and build emotional resilience. A few minutes each day of focused breathing or mindfulness exercises can make a dramatic difference over time. By observing thoughts without judgment, you learn that saying no or disagreeing is not dangerous. It is natural and necessary for well-being. Let's talk about real-life transformation stories. Emma, the woman we met in Part 3, gradually learned to assert herself. She started small, telling her friends she couldn't join a last-minute outing, expressing her opinion on a team meeting, and asking for recognition at work. At first, it was uncomfortable. She feared disapproval and conflict, but with practice, her confidence grew.
She realized that people still valued her kindness and reliability, even when she spoke her truth. Emma's relationships improved, she felt less anxious, and she finally experienced a sense of inner peace. Similarly, Alex from Part 4 discovered that his habitual niceness had given him influence, but had also created internal pressure. He began to set clear boundaries with his friends, share his honest opinions, and prioritize his own goals. Surprisingly, his friends respected him more. They appreciated his authenticity and learned to engage with him in a healthier, more balanced way. Alex's transformation highlights a key truth. Authentic niceness is more powerful than automatic compliance. The psychology behind this transformation is supported by research on self-determination theory, which emphasizes autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Overly nice people often sacrifice autonomy to maintain social harmony. By reclaiming autonomy, making choices that honor personal needs, they enhance both mental well-being and the quality of relationships. Authentic kindness, rooted in choice rather than fear, fosters deeper connections, trust, and respect. Now let's discuss practical exercises to apply these principles. First, create a personal values list. Write down what matters most to you: honesty, health, creativity, connection. Whenever you face a decision, ask, does this align with my values? This acts as a guide for assertive behavior. Second, practice role-playing scenarios. In a safe environment, rehearse saying no, expressing disagreement, or asserting your needs. This trains the brain to respond naturally, reducing anxiety when real situations arise. Third, use positive reinforcement. Each time you act in alignment with your authentic self, acknowledge it. Celebrate small victories. I spoke up today. I set a boundary. I honored my needs. Positive reinforcement strengthens neural pathways, making assertive behavior easier over time. Finally, embrace self-compassion. Overly nice people often judge themselves harshly for mistakes or perceived failures. Self-compassion allows you to acknowledge imperfection, reduce self-criticism, and maintain emotional resilience. Treat yourself with the same kindness you extend to others. The journey from fear-driven niceness to authentic kindness is not instant. It takes practice, patience, and reflection, but the rewards are profound. Reduced anxiety, increased confidence, healthier relationships, and a stronger sense of identity. Niceness becomes a choice, not a compulsion. Empathy becomes genuine, not exhausting. Influence becomes natural, not manipulative. In conclusion, the psychology of people who are always nice reveals a complex interplay of emotions, social dynamics, and cognitive patterns. By understanding these mechanisms, we can transform fear-driven compliance into empowered, authentic kindness. The secret lies not in pleasing everyone, but in pleasing thoughtfully while honoring yourself. When this balance is achieved, life becomes more harmonious, relationships more genuine, and the mind finally free from the hidden burden of over-pleasing. Your journey starts with awareness, continues with small, consistent steps, and ultimately leads to a life where being nice is no longer a trap, but a powerful, authentic expression of your true self.